What's going down, everyone? And we're back for another test of a new update from Nvidia. So this time around, we're going to be testing the new GeForce Game Ready Driver 436.02. And for community members that are returning now that just joined the network for this one, and my AMD people that followed me and helped me with the technological patch notes, and I kind of enjoying those. This is going to be kind of a cool one because at the very end, I'm going to do a special like overclock that I'm wondering what's going to happen because I kind of like MacGyvered a really cool fix, and that's the way you can kind of see in the very bottom right corner. You'll see that I have two stats, one being audio and the other being temperature. So you can see the back of the actual GPU is like probably spinning at about 26 versus if we went over to the precision, like we'll see and test that balance out real fast in a situation that will be like going down to the toe by toe of what's going on in the situations of the news. We'll also get into some AMD news as well as a really cool touch into a article that has the bare bones of what basically is entailed inside of this. So first and foremost, one of the things that we can kind of like pull up directly is going to be like our patch notes directly from like Reddit. Now, Reddit's also going to have this, the Nvidia, and they're also directly from them. And I pulled up the direct ones from the sourceable points of what's happening, as well as the portions from a few other like news articles I think everyone will enjoy. So, first and foremost, it improves the performance of Apex Legends, Battlefield 5, Forza, Horizon Zero Far, Stranger Brigades, World War Z, and that definitely always needs a little bit more headroom. And the new ultra latency option for faster input response, improving the latency up to 33%. Now, a lot of gaming developers have given this already, and it's kind of like interesting to see Nvidia drive the news even for like a super and like that I thought that was really interesting because I own like an RTX 2080 Ti and I love the card. Like the blower edition, like for me personally, is very adequate in order for me to kind of like play situations with like 3D Mark, and I'm excited to kind of see what's going to happen directly after this, which we kind of OC with our 3D Marks. So you can see the GPU in the scaling portion, and you can actually click on that GIF, as well as the GeForce experience adds a new freestyle sharpening filter over the 600 games of basically all the DirectXs and the Vulkan API gaming, which is really interesting that they mentioned the Vulkan APIs. They're already kind of like tailoring a little bit more to AMD, but like I feel like everyone's kind of like recognizing AMD when you start seeing like Intel giving out patch notes inside their own inner like circle of news that's giving like their employees like, hey, guess what, like we're giving like props to like them taking over the kind of CPU market and meeting us halfway. Like, so it's like there's a lot of cool things. I'm not quite sure if they're going to keep up for like the quarters of next year for GPUs, but I think they'll kill it for CPUs, and I think Intel will kill it for GPUs. And then we'll be looking at Nvidia just making some really ridiculous super version of everything until they're like freaking Super Saiyan Blues and stuff like that. But those are basically the features that we have here. But let's go down to the newer features that more people will probably be looking into. As you can see right here, where the game provides increased performance and the optimization points of the experience of the Apex. Yes, we've already gotten down to those interstitial points, but you also have the G-Sync compatibility in the monitors. So if you've been selected within those ASUS to the Acers, within the codes that are selected right over here, I'll highlight that just so people can see a little bit better on the actual playback screen. But these are the other portions of what they've actually added for the SLI profiles, and that was another thing when Lisa Sue was asked in a situation of, well, Crossfire be a situation that they'll integrate into like more future points for Navi. They were not very direct in like an answer that we would really like to sink our teeth into, and I think Navi just has like the Radeon 7 card like that I have are stepping stones. I don't think that they're trying to do this in a long term. They're probably waiting for the Alienware game chief coming over to like just help redesign everything, and then have like a whole other genre of like DNA go out and basically platform the world into like a really cool thing. Because I think like what we're gonna start seeing is basically like laptop styled GPUs, basically computers on themselves being integrated into like our stackable portions of technology. But past that point, like what the SLI profile is going to add for is the BattleTech. We have down to Dark 18, Deep Rock Galactica, Fee, Fear in the Night, Heavy Rain, which is a personal favorite of mine, and then Neil, Overkill's Walking Dead, PC building simulators, so like Jay's 2 cents and everyone else that like plays that 2 cents. I actually like watching that guy because he like plays that game. He gets super excited and it's like really fun to watch. But like you also have like Remnants from the Ashes, Starlinks, and Warhammers. New features and other changes added to the beta support have the GPU, which if you have the privilege of doing the beta, I would I would love to do that. I should probably look into that actually. That'd be really cool. But they probably wouldn't be wanting to like have a whole bunch of driver leak out points, and it'd probably be industry points, I would assume. I'll look into that. That'd be kind of cool. Anyways, the newer control and Nvidia control panels and display in the just displays the size and proportionable pages. I never really had too much of that, but like maybe like some people and like other models had, but maybe I just didn't utilize it. It's not in order to experience it. Support on the Nvidia turning GPU and the later Windows 10 April 2018 update or later. And that's like a lot of situations that I find even AMD and other companies actually run into. It's just the Windows updates as they stack, we run into issues. I mean, like I totally get it. It's nothing like super crazy. It's past the point, not. But we're already almost halfway through this situation where we're almost getting to like patch notes. Dunzo, because you can see right here, this page goes on for not too long. As you can see, the game ready fixes is coming down from Tomb Raider down to a situation of a control panel, going for like more of the Russian integrations. But like, there's a lot of firmware. There's 30-bit coloring, adding support for a situation, which is more of a advanced portion of what we're going to get into. The Cadre products and the high quality portions. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's listed, and you can definitely go down like all the fun, exciting portions of what's going down to Tom Clancy's Divisions 2, and the game may crash, and the important open issues that they have gotten down to portions, because that's probably what a lot of people are wondering. It's like, well, what if they not picked full Forza? There's a corruption in the tracks in the games. Or Overwatch, where the games crash, where you render in the devices and it has lost errors. So you get down to HDR scaling, which I run into issues with from time to time, but I don't really game as much. I'm doing more of encoding through the processing points. So it's like HDR can become a situationable point. Now, you can utilize these links, which are basically into the control panel down to the device portions of downloading. Now, that's just the basic Reddit one. Now, of course, you can go here. This is where you can download everything. And again, this is where you have more up-to-date past like what you really want to get down to the portions, because it's like you see like these situations where it's just like gives you additional information, but the date isn't really like. But if you go down here where it's release notes and you go down to situations, you can get to selectable points like right here, which I've linked into, and you can get down to the release notes, which are tailored into it. And it's really cool. Like they actually give you like a whole like digital little manual, which is pretty cool. And like it's actually time stamped on what they're doing and what they've done inside of it with the beta support, G-Sync. I thought this one was probably the more cooler portions of what I was really getting into. Like for patch notes, I was just like, wow, I didn't even know they had this. I wish AMD had this. Like, I hate to say it, but like I kind of feel more excited to cover like Nvidia patch notes now because they do it like really well. They like really do it well. But like you can see that down to the OpenCL and like the advanced drivers, you can get down to portions. Now at the very tailor end of it, like it actually gives you like a sum up. I'm trying to get down to because it's like almost like 30 pages. And then right here, this is where they're basically getting into all the fixes, what they fixed into with the mouse cursor not rendering, where Shadow of the Tomb Raider is there. And I link this in the description if a lot of people want to get into like a lot of more portions. But I think what we need to dive into, since we're already about 10 minutes into the actual physical portions, I'm ready for some benchmarks. And if we're all ready for that situation, let's go ahead and run and jump into a situational point of I shut down the web and we run just a basic test. Now, just to bring open also my precision, so everyone knows exactly the overclock that I'm running at that portion of it, that will also give a fun portion of like where I'm at. So you can kind of see like this is just zeroed out. Nothing's really anything at this point in time. So it's very just bland, right? We're just going to run this toe to toe. And as you can see, benchmark of time spy in its demo has already begun. I didn't really want to start that like that, but I guess, like the show must go on. Like quote Freddie Mercury. All right. I mean, it is a cool demo. We can kind of look at it a little bit and see, like, temperature wise, like, what happens. I like that I was able to get my other camera. I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll just put on the side little portion of it, like, a little, like, 28 is, like, what we're getting in Celsius, which isn't that bad. That's actually a pretty good, like, temperature for, like, the out portion of, like, the 2080 Ti, which means in Celsius wise, it's, like, a little more than, like, 68, maybe 70. This is just plain not overclocked, and that's why I wanted to showcase like what it's saying versus what's inside of there, which is pretty cool. Time Spy is a very great situation, honestly, like to run in like a nice like clockable portion where you can get into. And like the RTX 2080 Ti, like I hate to say it, kills it over the AMD cards. Like where AMD may come close, and the Radeon 7 was a fun card to grab, it really hasn't met the model, and for them to close the gavel so soon on it, they're probably not going to lose like I guess movement on trying to improve it, because I kind of feel like AMD does have commitment to its drive, like where it hasn't like given up on the TR socket, which I'm excited about. They haven't given us a date on it, but the AMD news on that would hopefully be in 2020. Redripper's going to be killing it. CPU market, as a lot of companies are starting to see AMD is going to be the CPU king, as like a lot of companies are going to basically be battling against each other. I like it though. It's driving technology forward. It's driving us to get like the portion of Moore's Law's not dead, and what companies can do daringly in order to bring ourselves into the next 21st millennial portion of it. Now, you can see like this basic test now, we've gotten up to 31 degrees, and our decibel points without me talking is about like 51 on the bare like bones. Another reason why I wanted it to like run this is because when I run the overclock, that's going to be really cool. I'm also going to run like a Super Saiyan Ken like Guyver version of it. I got like a really cool like AC like box, and like I'm running it from like a Penguin DeLonghi, and the tube's running directly into like the blower of the actual physical like GPU. And yeah, we're gonna run it and see how like I can overclock the card and see if like I can get it to run anything. That's just bare thermal paste. I'm not gonna go like liquid metal yet, though. I got a person that gave me a really great comment on the unboxing that I had that like basically said that the blower edition of the 2080 Ti by EGVA is actually capable of doing it really well. And like since it's like more of like a I guess a desktop station, like more like work material for more people that are utilizing those situations, it's ideal for like moving forward in a lot of like plateau portions of ideal workstations. It's cool because just like you don't want a lot of heat inside of your like case, and like I've customized mine where it just like blows the heat directly out the top, like, and now putting the AC vent to it's gonna be like even more crazy because it's like more direct, so it's not actually hitting like anything. Like I have my AIO and like its own little separate like division, I can say, of like class of like heating for my Threadripper and the 2950X that this is running on right now, which is pretty smooth. I like my 2950X, and I'm getting really excited to see what they're gonna do with like the newer portion of the Zen 2, let alone Zen 3. Like Zen 2 is going to opportunely give me what I need to be in 4K 90 frames, and by my situation until they get to Zen 3, which will probably handle 8K 60 frames. And like that's just my projection on where I think they're gonna go. Probably a little bit more on the 8K and the frame rate, and that's where we're gonna start seeing a lot more of like the natural portion is like the competitiveness after 8K is frame rates. So it's like that's gonna be crazy because that's gonna drive processors insane, like in the encoding portion of what we're gonna see. But I like it because it's like it gives me a person that's already been like studying 4K for the last like 2 years and like integrating it and going towards 8K now as we leap towards that in the millennial portion of like I can guarantee by 2020 we will be seeing 8K. No pun intended, like not to quote anything, but like we will be seeing clear pixel on that portion of like I guess gameplay. Now this isn't too bad, like 21 like on the frame rate, and this isn't going to increase as we go up. I've always noticed that in like the physical portion of like this testing. Now I like that like this test is ranked. I think I just accidentally like clicked something, but luckily it ignored the shit out of me. Sometimes you can do that by accident, like clicking your mouse, and it will ruin the test and the benchmark. And it's just like, nope, it doesn't count because you skipped something that's super crucial. Um, but you can kind of see that like the processor right there and everything's kind of struggling a little bit, tiny bit, not too much, but it's moving pretty well. That's probably more than likely. It's just like it's trying to do its frame rate like run as fast as it possibly can. But it does look pretty smooth on the playback for its like where my encoding on the Elgato looks like really smooth. But that's almost like 40 out of the case. That's insane. Like if you look at that in the Celsius like levels right there, the KO Kenning at 37. Now it seems like the audio cut out as my processor like does its thing. I'm going to go see if I can turn on that audio test thing real fast. I'll be right back. For most people that are joining, if you wanted the patch notes, I did link that in the actual direct portion if you want to catch up while we're doing some tests. So that's my bare bones. No overclock. That's what I was able to kind of like just get in the situation, which was kind of cool. So I got to more of a fun situation. Now we can close this as my driver is not installed into the newer portion of it. We still need to install the newer portion of the game driver. Now let's go to my precision. I like using this one portion because it's just kind of tuned a little bit and I've messed with it enough to kind of have a decent overclock to know like what to do before it crashes on me. Like it says, screw you, I'm tired. Yeah, like it's it can be picky, but you know, it's like if you know the sweet spots, you know like what it can actually physically do on the portion of like going like to the I guess the Kaioken Livents. That's why again like why I like the card personally myself. It like it gives me like a really fun like ride for like a portion of like bang for buck. Like on the now I'm gonna go ahead and boost up the whole like fan and that should do like a really good like portion of like damage on like the actual like you can see like now 72 and 41 to 42 directly on top of there. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and select since we've gotten that portion already overclocked in the next test. Now I ran just a basic one and I've ran other ones before directly, so let's go back to 3D Mark now that I've gotten that running and we've gotten this portion of Time Spy. So let's go ahead and get a Time Spy to Time Spy direct portion of what's going down. And welcome back everyone. I'm glad you kind of got to the patch notes. I'm sure that's like where the spike down was. I'm glad I can add that to the portion of people. And like let's go ahead and see where we can get into nice like testings just for a situation of where we can go for benchmarks. So let's go back to Time Spy. We're gonna go right here. And instead of running it with a demo, let's go ahead and take away that demo. That way we can just run this real fast and see what we get with our real cool like situations. Now this is full throttle. We have 73 on the decibel. My voice isn't even affecting that just by like a hair, probably, if anything. And then you also, I'm going to put the mouse down so we don't ruin this test because I want to make sure we get this benchmark thing. And right now I'm getting about 46, give or take, probably on like the control panel for like the, I would say the precision where it's probably at. Like, and like the back outlet is probably right around like 39. And the back plate itself probably can get about around the 46 or where it's normally at. Like I've seen it where if you hit it just right, it will go up a little bit in Celsius. So I'm saying like the back port, that's just like hot air coming out that it's like consistently getting towards some of the veins like aimed at. So it's just kind of like a fair share of like the heat that's like exiting versus like the inlet of it. It's probably roughly about 10 to 20 Celsius below that because like my inner case runs roughly about 20 to 30 on like a hot day and the Celsius run like on my case ambience. But this one I've been kind of MacGyvered, which was kind of cool because like I'm really excited to run like an overclock, like the way that I kind of want with a MacGyvered AC vent from a DeLonghi, like directly onto the actual physical GPU. So that's going to be kind of funny to see like how it actually physically runs. Now, right now, it's crazy. Look at the FPS. It's like you're going to like almost 100. Like it was like, yeah, I can kind of do some stuff, and then you overclock the damn card, and it's just like, yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. And this is just on the old driver, like the 431.0 60, I think was the last one. Yeah, if I remember correct. That was not a bad driver. I liked it. It increased a lot of stuff, and I got to play with the overclock for the first time and kind of like benchmark some stuff and see what's going down. Now, the cool thing too, I also took away the non-necessary overlays. So like this is just running off of one display, shooting over to its capture card. So it's just like the less stress this card can possibly have to just run on like by itself, like so I can kind of push it the farthest without stressing it out, without having like the factor of like me maybe running like Steam and like the portion of like the 3D Mark program itself. It's just like the residuals that you normally have to run, like Windows or updates and like all these other weird things. So, not too bad. We're already almost up to like around 89. And again, like this is just from like a basic overclock where it's just like you can kind of kill it. Now 56 would be thinking I would be more normally used to, and that's not too bad. Like its whole exit point's like really like chilled out. The sound is pretty like legit though. You really like boost the crap out of the card itself. Now we'll go into the installation right after this, and then we'll cut to the AMD news as well as the Nvidia latency pointouts. Because the pointouts are going to be where the physical portions. Now, as you can see, it approaches right around 50. It's probably roughly inside the actual physical card, around like 55, as you kind of get to the center portion. Now, this is where my card kind of excels, where it's just like, yeah, I can kind of do this really well, because it's, in my CPU. It's just like able to thread rip the crap out of it. I'm excited though when we get to like Rome in their demonstration, and AMD was like pretty much killing it. Like where like you were able to kind of see more of the direct portions of where they were able to get really good tests against like what would normally be like your Intel like top of the line for like half the price with not even utilizing a lot of the power. And that's like what I'm more giddy about too, is the power reduction. It's really nice when you can run things really fast, really clocked, and just not have to worry about a whole bunch of crap, like when it comes down to power. Now that was really great. I was able to like completely like I went like basically 1.25 times, like probably more higher than like the overclock right there. Pretty cool. Cool. Now that we have a test, and we're gonna keep doing with time spy since we have that, let's go ahead and download and install. And right now my internet connection probably should kill it in like just a few seconds. Even with me streaming on like the other portion of YouTube, it shouldn't be that bad for as far as seeing like the portion of installing and stuff. But let's go ahead and go to where our news articles can kind of get into play with the Nvidia or AMD. And you can kind of see where I'm cutting to the news, where we're over here. And now, at this portion where it's kind of installing in the background, I'll let it do its thing. You can kind of see that, like, where AMD and, like, their Epic and their war against portion of, like, stealing the crown. And that's where it's, like, if you look at, like, a lot of the stock market nowadays of, like, where it's at in the situation of, like, the news of AMD. Like, they're, like, basically meeting toe-to-toe, like, with, like, the silver market. And I think that was the smartest introduction for them. Them going into, like, the battlefield with, like, more, I guess, enthusiast nowadays, as well as like the gamer, was probably the smarter moves to get the bread and butter. But like the more stable portions of it is probably Rome, and getting the portion of like more server based control and giving more people like like Rockstar, they can buy a server now and like just make their own stuff instead of having like tens of thousands of dollars to spend on a dang server just to get something like started on like an actual like portion. Now the next gen of portion of like cards is starting July 7th. Yes, we've already known that Navi's came out, and the portion of the 16 core 3950X, which is basically the replacement of like my card that I have right, or I guess GPU, not, but my CPU, yes, of thread ripping proportions, just downsized into a little chiplet for like what their proportion of like gaming and like basically anyone that wants to be a creator, that's your card if, like to get into. And I can't like emphasize more if it's a card because it's like that's basically what we're getting into. Like CPUs are no longer just CPUs. They're actually little integrated points, and that's why I like APUs and the integration of like all this new technology that's stacking into it. So it's just like, it's like we're just getting into smarter technology, downsized into smarter technology, and then just the continuation of that. Now, jumping over to where we were getting to like more of a news article with the AMD portion of like, I don't care, cookies. I'm not going to take your cookie from your cookie jar. I just want to cut the latency. Yes, me. Down to the bare bones. Now, this update is supposed to do 33%, and like a lot of the games that I listed in the very beginning, we're basically going to have your low latency portions of what's going to have like our stabilization and what we're going to get down to the game ready drivers that are available today. And like you can collect the actual physical driver selection, and if you are not able to select that one directly, just select drivers right up above and you should be able to select your card and it will dial in the download from there at that portion. But if not, leave a comment. I can always try to help with that portion in time. Now, as it basically has almost probably gotten about 10% done with the install, as it or has already finished the download. Now the high performance in the world of the epic graphics card has improved in its benchmarks. In frame rate, this isn't a resolution sharpening the dominance of the portion of this newer update. Now, I'm really cool with this because it's like the lower the latency, the better. The faster the rates, the better. The faster proportions of what you can give me, hey, I'm cool with it. So this just means all my stuff's getting tuned up as it goes along. Now, the install is done. Let's go ahead and hit closed. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go for a clean reset just because I like doing that after updates. I feel like it's just fair. It does look really better, like a whole lot better actually. Insane, what an update. What they were just basically waiting to release, that like basically AMD probably forced them to kind of trickle in through there to give us 20 to 33%. So that is in the range of 60 to 40 FPS. That's insane. Now we're gonna dial our overclock that I did in the very beginning to next to nothing. We're back to our bare bones, just so we can kind of get a reading of what this basic portion is, not what my overclock is. And we'll have to learn that because I got to my overclock before where it didn't really come in really well at the very beginning, but it came in really well later on because I was able to play around with it for the Radeon. And like I feel like the Nvidias are so much easier to overclock than AMDs. AMDs are like you really do have to have like a really good versed like understandings of like I guess just like how the integration of technology will respond in certain like applications, if it be hot and that or cold. Like it's really interesting. That's why I like watching a lot of creators just like talk about like what they're into in the situations of like gameplay and just like and just all well-rounded like portion of just knowledge. Like so it's like people like Gaming Nexus, J2 Sense, like All's Hardware, all these great like creators are great like turnaround points to see like where technology is going in these portions. So now that we're back in, and you can kind of see that like I have Nord. I'm not trying to advertise for it quite yet, unless they really wanted to sponsor me. But I just like having Nord personally myself. They're great for like little defensible points. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start my 3D mark, and we'll go ahead and see our overclock reset. As you can kind of see that like the overclock and everything spirals right into it. Let's go ahead and close down my 3D mark. And let's go ahead and hit default. Apply. There we go. We're running just at our default. This is just our bare bones GeForce. Oops. Yeah, as you can see, like I stream on multiple devices. Threadripper is my like freaking bread and butter for like X264 encoding. But getting to my 3D mark that I was trying to open. There we go. Like, what is happening? All right, cool. So here we are, yet again. And let's go ahead and go to our benchmarks. See what we fish in. We're just like straight out the bare bones. getting into our situation of like what we can get into gameplay, I'm excited because, and I say gameplay because it's just like really cool graphics and it's just like testing your PC to the limits. It's like I feel like that song, "Take It to the Limit" should be there for at least about 3 seconds, so it's not like really crazy copyright crap. But I'm excited to kind of see like what we're gonna get into, like running benchmarks sometimes by. That was kind of like slow for as far as the response. I'm wondering if we're gonna have to like watch. Oh, okay, cool. I remembered not to play the demo. Very nice. So straight out the gate, it's taking its sweet time, which means it's tired. But let's see if it's not tired as 20%. It's funneled into epic awesomeness. I'm hoping that basically happens. But who knows? We'll see as we come around like around the 30-minute mark. As we get down to our galactic portions, we're getting like actually what I would assume was the 20 to 30%. Because now with not even an overclock, it's like at 80 to 90% just by itself. And then when I overclock the card, now I'm wondering what the heck's gonna happen. Will it like still be stable, or will it completely collapse? So it seems like this like driver is very well wanted to like install. I would very well, like as just like the glimpse of it is right here so far, be happy enough to say like, I can see why people are just like, all right, cool. This is like a safe driver to like install as like gameplay comes into it, and like you can see FPS being like honestly given in like all the cards because it's not just like my card per se for as far as the Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, but like they are getting down to like trying to like upgrade that. I just happen to have the luxury of like running a higher frame rate than most. Like, but that's just kind of my cut of my jib. I love frame rate and I like pixels. I have really good eyesight, so it bothers me personally in my humble like existence. But it also is really cool. Like I feel like it's also like kind of like the athlete that's trying to like excel. It's like you're trying to build something that's just as cool, like computers. It's like battle bots, but they're like computing points. It's like you're building like an intelligible point to like run. Now this is insane though. Look at the frame rate right here. It's like averaging roughly about like almost 60 frames a second. Like this running it like now like by itself is really well like rounded. Like I would be insanely happy to be a GeForce card holder, which makes me wonder like what would happen with my 1060 Extreme that I have. Like that's a really great GeForce GTX card, and my GTX 1070 Mini Ti, which were portionably in there. Like they probably would rank in pretty well, but they probably wouldn't rank in like insanely well. Like I would probably have a better standpoint of maybe running like some really crazy like SLI like portion. Like so like as they had added a lot of support inside of there, which was really cool. And you can kind of see that the actual physical like um audio kind of cut out, but we probably know that it's probably roughly around that like 50 to like 40 as it normally is. But the temperature is more important for me personally, as we can kind of see that it's like within the high, mid, low 50s, like, which isn't too bad. And like the insane cool overclock is going to come in the end. I am super excited about that. Once we get past this, we're gonna basically gonna overclock it like once just to kind of do it, and then we're gonna try my like way and see what happens with a lot of cold air. See if it ranks higher, or if I can push it higher without it crashing. It might crash, but that's kind of cool because I'm like streaming it from another PC. So if it crashes, it's totally fine. No, that's insane. Like that almost went up by itself 4,000%. Like, like holy insane. Jiminy Jigio, here's Batman. That was pretty freaking cool. So all things said inside, let's go ahead and go to our overclock, shall we? Yeah, they're insanely good. I just installed it and went bare bones to bare bones, and it basically showcased an insanely good portion of performance. Like, it kind of makes me feel like they kept this in like updates so they can continuously do like what Apple did with releasing updates of like say, hey, like we're just gonna keep doing stuff until you have to buy something new, but they were doing the opposite so they can keep increasing their drivers so they can have it as like an ace in the hole. So it's just like it. I love AMD and their war against like I guess technology in general, like to push like creators to like as you have like Nvidia to like really give us performance. So it's like I'm happy. Like my 2080 Ti now is going to perform insanely well. Now last time I did about like a 7 was it 75? And then let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and enter. And I had this around like 225. Oh no, not that yet. Maybe we might be able to do that when I do the overclock that we're gonna do in the end. But let's go ahead and get the fan induction all the way up. And I'm going to turn on the decibels again as we get into a gameplay portion of it. So now that I have my overclock running right there, we had this like steadily like open in general standpoints. I would love to keep this open as like where it would like tell us, but that's why I have the other temperature like in the very back, so it kind of shows us what's going down. So let's go ahead. I'm going to close this, and then we're going to go ahead and boot back this portion, and then we're going to run our benchmark again. Toe to toe overclock, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the decibel meter and be right back. Now I'm already noticing like the performance in just the Celsius readout. Before it was like in like the 40s to 50s, where now it's like almost in the portion of like 30s to 40s. So like even performance in like introductionably, I should say, um, the card is performing insanely well. So it's like I can't help but wonder why. Why was this like the Super Saiyan Blue like new form of Vegeta hidden within this like card? Like so it's like I think that like anyone that owns an Nvidia card should be very pleasantly happy with this. Install is very easy. If you run into any other like problems, I would suggest a clean install. Maybe even deleting the drivers from like your control panel, which is very easily selected in like your like portion of homepage. So it's like like I think most people that were kind of like dogging them with not having this, and I can kind of see like why they weren't super scared because they already had this in the background pocket. But like, why not just performantly give like this in the very beginning? And why give us this slow burn to like get to like these cooler technologies? But it kind of makes me wonder what's going to happen when we get to a 3080 Ti, or what's going to happen with the 2080 Ti Super, if that's the name of it. No, I agree. Look, I'm already getting 126 to 120 frames a second at my overclock. I was averaging basically my overclock before this update happened. Like, so it's like I'm insanely like happy with this, but I'm also where you're at, where it's like I'm also pissed because it's just like, dude, like, why did it take another company to piss the technology world off from their like capitalist greed to basically shake it up? You know what I mean? Like they threw some salt in everyone's pepper, and I love it. That's why it's like when I look at Lisa Sue, I'm just like, you know what? You're cool, and I'm really glad that you like stuck with this company and like the rumors of you leaving are like false, and you're really sticking true to like pushing like they don't even really want to get into like what is it? Uh, I guess like pluses anymore. Like Zen Plus 2 is going to be the last era of plus marks, which is insanely cool. So we'll only get like Zen 3 and then Zen 4 and then 5 and continuations. So it's like I like the technology, but I also like that this is driving Nvidia to become insanely better. So it's like it's pushing them to their all, so to say. If we were speaking to Jaren, like, and yes, I watch insane amount of Dragon Ball Super. I love it. But this is like a really great like portion of like yes, you should install this. Yes, you should have a lot of fun with this. This update probably like so far I'm loving the frame rate run around. I'm running the portion of like where it's giving me I feel the bang for my dollar that I paid for. So it's just like I don't know where they were going with this until like later on they were like waiting for like they can just stretch out like the line without having to put more creation into like wafers, so to speak, in the technology where it goes. Now, this part's already easy because this is my AMD technology. It's I already know how this is gonna perform. It's gonna perform pretty sweet because it loves me. That's right. I love you, Threadripper, too. I really do. Like that was probably one of the cooler, like I guess, portions I got into when I was watching Linus's live stream on Black Friday that I randomly got off, and I was like, why not? Is it broken? No. It for me, it's insanely working well. It works like the promising that they got, like from 20 to 33, if not, I guess, more percentage in my like thing. This is where I'm finally gotten to my overclock. So I got to a decent like overclock. Like that was pretty like actual good, and the all well-rounded portions of it. So we can see like let's go to our benchmarks. We can compare our tests. So right there, right within that like portion of now where people are basically being able to like benchmarks inside of there. Let's see here. No, I agree, and it makes me like want to test out my old cards and see where they rank against this. Because I hate to say it, but the 1080 Ti and like the 1080 series is probably a really great like set off, like where they have like this, like the tensor cores are basically where they're able to handle ray tracing, but every card's able to handle technical ray tracing because it's like a software implementation. So it's like I love and hate like where they've kind of gotten down to this portion of driving market. So look at this. This is where I basically started. For everyone that's here, this is where we started today. This is my last test basically within my Fire Strike, and I was just running it with my AMD. Kind of like to just run some like portions because I run AMD patch notes for most people. And then like let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. Like DZ, like with the frame rate issue, I would be mad too about that as well. When you, but for me, like the 3D mark seems like the frame rate got hella smoother. It was able to handle 4K really well. So maybe there's 1080p super sampling or 1080p, which is a huge portion of the market. Then maybe where the issues are, right, at this portion in time. Yeah, I feel like this is like where they're pushing the card to its limits, like because they're already like phasing out them with the supers, and with the 2080 Super Ti already in the wind and probably going to be inside of there, we're probably going to see some really interesting things. Now you can see, check it out. These are my direct portions. Now this overclock to that overclock wasn't as good, so let's go ahead and see if we can kind of raise it a little bit. As you can kind of see, the overclock here versus the overclock here is insanely good. That's like this is the first one just from the original update versus this is its like predecessor. So you can see the score is like almost doubled at that portion in time. It's in fact it's probably exactly almost doubled. And then you look over here and this time spy with my normal overclock and like what it got. So it's like these are kind of cool situations like where I'm kind of getting into play. But let's go ahead and I think for fun and like situations, we can go ahead and close this portion down. Close our 3D mark real fast. Let's go ahead and open Precision Boost. Because I want to at least score almost 1,000 or more, at least over like the normal score. I can feel like I'll like tap out like really well because it's at 97 and 98 is usually what I normally score. So if the clock speed I can kind of get up to like the memory portions like 770. I think maybe pushing it now to 777. That's the highest I'm going to go with it. I really don't want to mess with it too much, but I want to mess with this clock speed a little bit. I want to bring this up to maybe, let's go to 35. See if she can handle that just by herself from this update, because I want to try to match what we got like in that portion. Now we already have the voltage already maxed out and everything else in this gameplay, even like down to the portion of that. The only thing I'm bringing up is the RAM just a tiny bit. We're going to run the same exact test, and then we're going to run, hopefully, if it doesn't crash, I'll let it 350 or 250 and 275, which are two cap outs that we can kind of get into. Well, you know what? I think it's worth the shot because it's not like capping out too hard on like I just feel like the minute I go to 50, it's gonna break. Let's go to 40. Hit apply and see what happens. Normally, what you'll start to see is like what seems like snowflakes happen, like in the background of the screen. And that's why I like having black backgrounds because you see it really well. or white backgrounds. Anything that has like palette taste to it, where you can kind of see pixels like breaking on the outside. So 240 is not too bad. I feel like that and like the 777 is going to work really well in tandem. So let's go ahead and test it out. 3D Mark, Wonder Twin Power, new Nvidia Power Activate, form of an amazing like freaking like bench run. I'm hoping. But so far, like just installing it and not even messing with an overclock seems like you already gain an insanely amount. It's like it's already tuned to be overclocked. It seems like me messing with it is like messing with like its like natural narrative to run at its maximum. So maybe this is like their overclock. You know what I mean? Maybe like 436.02 is their stable overclock. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm taking a wild guess here, considering that like I overclocked it and it was just running like kind of like and then like now I was able to get 1400, so I need to beat that, and I almost like duplicated that, unless I messed up a few portions of it. But we're already kind of getting in the like I guess tail end of the stream, and I want to get to a really cool like portion of an overclock with the AC and see like how far we can kind of push it. So it's like right now with 240 on that clock portion, and then getting into the virtual RAM. We'll see what happens. The minute it opens the test, that's when we'll notice it will crash or run instantaneously. I've always noticed that's like basically when you start getting an overclock failure is like right in the very beginning of 3D Mark. It doesn't hesitate. It will show itself. Like, hi, I don't want to work. Screw you. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But so far, so good. Seems like we're not too bad out the gates. We're getting like an 80 to 90, like on a steady FPS. This is just a single like GPU, which before it would be like barely that. And as we crack into double digits, already like 100. So I'm thinking like as long as I can beat this like standard one, I'll be cool, and like I'll have to mess with it later on, like for as far as like tuning it like by itself for most people when we go past what we're gonna get into the MacGyvered overclock at the very tail end. I just want to beat the score now naturally, so I can say I did so. And then let's see here for comment boards. Let's see here, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Like I feel like the 2080 series, like in like in general, was like a very crutched portion of them, like buying time to show off technology to like kind of give to the enthusiasts or whatever a lot of people were trying to get into. So I mean that's a lot of like portions. Like I can see like why those like I guess questions would come up to portions of like why people want to. You know, but hey, at least this is happening. At least this isn't like 10 years down the road and we're finally seeing like leaps and bounds. Like as we can kind of see, like this used to be just such an issue. You know, like 60 frames, like right here where it turns itself, is insane. I don't have to buy a second, 2080 Ti to do something like a freaking insanely good, like 1080p super sampled or like a 4K format. So it's like for me, this is a big step up for like what I can get as a creator, as well as just like a showcasing like what this card can actually push to its limits. So this was a great update. Like I can't help but not say like I understand why people are pissed, but I also understand that you know what, at least it's here. I can appreciate like people's passion for sure, but I can also appreciate that at least we don't have to wait, and we don't have to be force fed this like some crappy DLC on a game we've been promised that looked really cool and then all of a sudden just really lame. This like should be a well performance to all of them, and like this is kind of cool where like now we're gonna be getting towards like older games looking better even on like new like platforms, and that's what we wanted. Like I think that's what all games should have done in the very beginning. It's just taking the older formats and just like laying in like a more pixel shading portion of like where we get like our shader portions pixel for pixel, as like streaming in the encoding portion goes, like that's a bigger portion of like what you can actually get stuff where stuff looks smoother and clearer as like you get down to portions, and you really don't notice that until you start doing thumbnails and a lot of work in the background where you're just like, okay, now I'm starting to notice the finite differences of like night and day differences in minute formats of just like what's like I guess subjectable portions of our native eye of what we're seeing, which is cool. But this is working really well. The overclock down to the portion of like now that can also be another format too. I've updated my BIOS on my Asus board, my Prime, which is amazing. I love my freaking like Prime, but like the alpha improvement like was like such a better portion. Now I think I just beat it. Yay me. Like that's like really cool for as far as like what we can get into. And it didn't like seem like it even like stuttered a little bit at all. So let's go ahead and compare our tests. I want to just make sure that I 100% beat it. There's the 98%. Sweet. I'm like cooking like with oil now. Go ahead and see where we have our results. And voila! I've beaten it by 100%. So let's go ahead and get to the MacGyvered overclock. I'm excited about this. I can just turn it on. I see it around the corner. Okay, so with that, now we should be seeing a little bit more of a temperature drastically go down. But the sound, as you can kind of see, is going to go drastically up because it's combating with the AC. So let's go ahead and just let it chill for a split second. Let's look at the test as like basically um, platform to platform. I'm not going to mess with the overclock. We're literally going to test the overclock with the application of cold induction with it going directly now within my case. Yes, it's going to get an added benefit to it. Like, and the way I have it like synced is where any condensation would have naturally kind of got pushed out directly, because I know that's what you end up getting when you start pushing things in like a colder and a hot. You start getting a condensation point. But if done right, if you know like your applications of like how to run things in like induction, you can kind of like negate that. But like I have a clever mind at times. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our benchmarks. Now that you can kind of see what's going down in our overlay, let's go ahead and go to our time spy. Yes, yet again. Let's go ahead and read another one. Add that to the board and see what ends up happening now. Now, the cool thing, we're going to kind of get into gameplay and like the portion of our 3D mark, is now look at our time temperature. It's at 20 Celsius. That is really good. That's insanely good. That's what like my native case normally is, which means it's probably, oh my gosh, 19. Okay, this is gonna be fun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Like my card's gonna run really freaking well. Oh, I really am curious to see like the FPS improvement, like what's gonna happen here. I want to turn on the decibel like in a second, but I don't want to like leave the seat because I know the FPS is gonna load in really fast as it like continues to drop in frame rate. So like instantly out the gate it got 90 and is like, competing to like stay on top of the 80. Like, and this is not even like changing anything at all. That's where I'm like noticing already 106 to 107 where it was normally 101. It didn't even peak out past that and it's holding almost like that triple digit. This is good. Look at like the clock literally is like at 21, 22. So like for like running a direct vent to the blower induction and having it blow out cold air and it getting to like maybe 25 to 20. I'm saying probably its inner core right now is probably 30 Celsius, which is not bad. That means it's running roughly about like 60. It's not like with the newer AMD technology where you normally have to run it really hot, like, per se. And they're like saying like 110 is like your normal, which is not. Like your junction temperature may hit that, and that's where it starts to like simmer down. But you need to push things up. Like if you watch any gaming Nexus streams where he like does his overclocks, they have like an insanely good amount of portion of knowledge of like how to in those portions. So that's not too bad. We're already at like 32% and like the portion of what I'd say down in temperature wise, like where we normally were with like the 45 to 50, now we're at 31 barely. Now the load time is insanely fast. I'm like loving this. I'll turn on the decibel gun in a second. Again, I am like just as giddy to see what's going to happen. This overclock is working really well, as well as like the induction of it staying under 30 Celsius, this portion. Man, this is such a glorious update. Like, it's totally worth it. Like, it's like, it's a bittersweet. Like, you're so pissed off, but you're so happy that it's happening. Like when you lost Krillin, but then like Goku went Super Saiyan, you're like, fair compromise. It sucks, but it had to happen. I feel like that's the only explanation I could give that would make people laugh. Where you're like, yeah, I kind of feel you, but like we all still hate Frieza. Yeah, Nvidia, stop being Frieza. Just be cool. Let us trust you. Stop being that like thing. We're just like, are you just playing a bit? I think he's playing a bit. He's doing a bit. I love Dragon Ball Super. It's like something I can quote for days. Um, but not too bad. Like we're not even peaking to the 40s, and like even my induction of my CPU now is like getting like really good. Holy crap, that's really good. Yay, go go Bronco! It seems so smooth, so cool for the frame rate. Let's see what our test is. So it went up 150 natively just by running that by itself. So like I don't know, that's pretty glorious. I'm like I'm really happy with that. Like how I was just able to Kaioken that by itself with just adding the induction of cold air with that blower card. I'm so happy Amazon screwed up and sent me that. That was like the best thing to unbox. Where I was just like, oh, Amazon screwed up again and sent me the wrong thing. And I was like, wait a minute, this thing was more expensive. Wait a minute, this thing was way cooler. I was like, cool. I'm okay with it now. I'm not as pissed. Uh, Anyways, let's go ahead and compare ourselves on the digital clock right here. Nice. Sweet. So we're getting right there at that portion. So since I know it's not going to peak out past that, I might be able to raise the core clock a little bit up and not have it any kind of portioning since like we're trending up right here. You can see like this is where our normal portions are. And again, I can't help but point this out. This was the original test. This was the original 4.31.60 driver, and this is literally, this is my overclock, and then I went back and hit default, and this was the test. No, like, overclock whatsoever, just by itself. This was what the card ran at, natively. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. So then when I ran the overclock and it went down, I was like, screw that, that's not gonna where I'm gonna settle, and here I am. So, let's go ahead and let's run some other tests. I feel like we can push the card a lot farther here. Give it a good college run. See what we come up with. So since like the memory clock, I feel like I shouldn't really mess with too much. I feel like you can probably get it right around like 1,000 give or take, but I feel like 777 is good enough for me. I'm gonna feel a little more with the clock. Let's go to the 50 mark, right? Let's apply. I mean, it seems stable. I think it can handle it too. It's still at 16 just by itself natively, which before it was at 28, just chilling. So as it kind of just sits down, I'm just gonna let it idle down, let it kind of chill before we run 3D mark. And give it like another few seconds. Um, Go ahead and pop this open. Now when I'm running the next test, I might just run it real fast so I can go grab a Gatorade. I'm getting a little thirsty. So I'm gonna fill my parchment with electrolytes and keep my regiment of like 100 calories. I don't know. I've been watching too much One Punch Man. I wish they would like sub over the stuff, but I feel like the journey of the dub version is so much cooler too. I don't know. I love Japanese anime in its entirety. Like everything's cool about it. So let's go ahead and go to our portions. We're going to keep running Time Spy so we can keep running things against each other so it's consistent. We can see the improvements just from that. Now I will reserve 2 tests at the end. We're going to do Fire Strike Ultra, which I like. And then we're going to run the Port Royal, like the ray tracing portion of it to see what's up. You got a RTX 2080 Ti Extreme. Oh, cool, man. Dude, yeah, I freaking love the series. I don't like the price. Um, but like I like that it's like overclocking really well right now. And I have like a direct vent of an AC from a DeLonghi running into it. So it's like that's where I'm getting like such the low Celsius. Now, for everyone joining, thank you so much, and for returning members that are a part of this, I appreciate all this. Now I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'll be right back. Everyone, just enjoy this little cutscene, see some FPS stuff, leave some comments. Let me know what everyone is running on GPUs. I'm wondering. I'm running an EVGA 2080 Ti RTX card, the blower edition, which is amazing. I love it. It's linked down below too, if anyone wants to see what it is. So look at the FPS. I'll turn on the decibels as I go up there real fast. Oh no! Thank goodness nothing broke, but I dropped my bottle. Alright, everyone. It's so clean. It's like at 32 Celsius, which is really great because that's like roughly around like 70, give or take. Let's see here. That's not that bad. That means American, you paid probably roughly about 750, maybe give or take. Is your money still roughly about like 1.3, 1.25, give and take more than ours, which is rightfully so. You guys are better at keeping finances than Americans. Remember, like, spend it, charge it, it's fine. Don't worry about it later. But I guess that's the boy and joy of a capitalist society. But from across the pond, that's a great price, actually, honestly. Mine was the Founders Edition. I wanted the Founders Edition too when I was doing the research on all of them. Pretty much almost all of them were exactly the same except for the Asus sticks. And then the one that I was originally going to get was the one with the huge fans that were just like sunk into it and like more of a bigger I/O surface covering. And like what Amazon sent me was the blower edition, which I have right now. Now you can kind of see where I messed with this. We're getting at the top at about 40, which is not bad. 60 to 50 is normally what I'm messing with on top of this. So like this is pretty good, like with getting like a 41 with a direct induction. And I'm really curious how like eventually my GPU and my CPU is going to react now, because look at my CPU. The more longer we run this test, the better it's getting, because the colder it's getting within that case. So that means the colder that like my physical portion of my CPU. And I do have to continue to cycle it in heat just in order to make sure. Now I'm going to check on this in a second inside the case just to make sure there's not like a puddle of water waiting to destroy my freaking epically built River. I do care about her, that's why I want to check on her. But not too bad. That's 14 to 69, so we went up just a tiny bit. Not a lot, but a tiny bit. But that's progress. That's, I feel like, a little step, and we kind of pushed the boundaries of where this card can kind of get. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and close the program. Clear my throat a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and click our precision boost. But I'm glad everyone's having a fun time, and I'm having a great time here as we kind of overclock what's going down. So let's go ahead and bring it up. I mean, do I dare go 270? But I feel like we're trending. Let's go 260, and we'll apply that and see what happens. So far so good. I don't see any of the artifacting that I normally see, and the card itself now is getting at the normal temperature of what it was staying at when we first started the stream. So that means it's roughly within ambience, with a few degrees Celsius below what it normally was. So I think it was like 28 to 29 where it was sitting at. So we're 4 to 5 below what we normally have, and I want that headroom because we're going to need it when we overclock crap. I'm already pushing this card way more past what I normally get into. Like, this is kind of cool. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here. So let's go ahead and test out this puppy. And I'm just gonna make sure that the overclock stuck, just because sometimes when I play with this thing, it doesn't really work that well. Oh, nice, man. That's a really high like score. That means you rank within the top 90s. Like I love getting like time spy scores. Like I hate to say it, but it's addicting. It's really addicting. Cool. So that really stuck. And like we'll maybe mess with like the virtual RAMs. Now I'm kind of curious too what's gonna happen if they really do make to the commitment of having a 2080 Ti Super, like what they're gonna do, because I don't think they're gonna add RAM. I think that'd be stupid. Like that would be the mistake of what the R7 card made. The R7 made a stir up in the community, and it was what it exactly meant to be, which is the disruptor. But I feel like it really didn't live up to anything past that. It wasn't like anything super monumental, and even Lisa Sue's like I think uncle was just like, yeah, it's great, but it's just like kind of like doesn't move as much as it should. You know what I mean? And like 16 gigabytes of RAM is where the expensive portion of what that card is. Now maybe that card might be like more available as Crossfire. I've seen some creators on top of there as a situationable do Crossfire with two of them, and it was pretty insane. So I'm kind of curious later on if I can pick one up really cheap. Why not? And then your dream card is an RTX Titan. That's really cool. I'm really hoping that like if they get the 2082 Ti Super or whatever the hell they call it later on. I hope they come up with a better name than that. That it will be in between the Titan and like the series of what we give ourselves down to a portion of like I think what was it, the Pastel or the Quadro? Like there's like a more top out card that they have above this. So, but not too bad. Right now we're already sitting at like a really cool like frame rate. We're just rocking those triple digits. It's insane. 90 to 91. It's great. Eight sour. That sounds super familiar. Is that the guy that's making like his own thermal paste right now? Like Eight Bauer, like he's like a German creator that reviews and makes his own like insanely cool like freaking like adapters for like deleting and stuff like that. De Bauer, I think is the way you're supposed to pronounce his name if I remember correct, or Eight Bauer. Um, but if that's the creator you're talking about, yes. I don't know him personally. I'd be really honored to actually meet him throughout time, in my social creation pursuit to happiness. Um, so it's like I know of a lot of creators that are out there that are just insanely talented, that are just like amongst the tech world, which are really cool. Oh man, this is really cool. I'm curious if I'm pushing the card too much where it's failing because it's like I see improvements, but I don't see. I feel like it's KO Kenning right now. And looking at the back of the case, it's not that bad. It's only a 32 pegging out. That's just like ambient at that point, like room temperature ish. Oh, cool, man! I'm excited. Like, you should be excited too. I'm excited for you, should I say? In this patch note, cool. We're barely even like peeking out towards the 40. This is really good. The overclock. I think I might be able to push this to 70. I'm damn well going to try it. We're gonna push the damn card until it collapses in this setting. But I need to take a peek in the case just to make sure I'm not like causing a water puddle. I'm sure I'm not. I hope. 40 Celsius is pretty cool for a top out. We're doing like 102 to 104. This is my generally cool like overclock of it like still somehow like lasting. I'm going to have to like downsize this because I obviously don't run this with like a with an AC like that, but maybe I could. Maybe that's the trick. Damn, I just love the way that my Threadripper runs though right now. It's like smooth as ice. No pun intended. It's a little bit of paradise. Oh no. I hope this doesn't go like south. I really hope it doesn't. Because then we'll be seeing penguins. That's where they natively live. Penguins. Don't you compare my penguin to my CPU, I suppose. In all hilarity. Oh, tight. Okay. Yes. All right. Cool. I'm getting like super juiced. I like grabbed the wrong mouse. That's how excited I am. You got a great card. Yeah, I feel like I hit the silicon lottery with this like card. Like it feels like very well performance. But like that is the difference between Nvidia and AMD. Like I hate to say it, but like there's more of a cherry picking point. But like since the Zen 2 like market, there's like not a lot of variants. They actually tightened up that variant a lot. Now let's go ahead and compare. I'm like curious if I can get like even higher on the score. Cool. I just need to get to 1500. All right. I think I can do it. All right. I believe in you, card. Like you haven't showed any fatigue at all, and I think I can push it probably up to the 60. I think before it says a screw you right now, it's like sitting like hella cool. Like so, I'm gonna go ahead and increase it by 1.5 more of what we're normally doing. So, holy crap! It accepted it. Normally, it like fatigues the hell out of me. Hey, macro, it's going down, bro. Oh yeah. Like I wish I could show it too during the test, but you can kind of see right now where the variance of the chip right here is 28 and the what I have on the backplate on the outside blowing is right around a 4 variance. So my guess in the very beginning of it roughly being about a 4 variant was correct. And you can kind of see it dropping and increasing with that 27 to 23. So it's like that is one of the reasons why I kind of like bringing this up. So we can kind of tell like if the inner case right here, if it's running 23 on negative weak point is 28 if it goes up to 24 in that variant. So great question though. Like I like this portion, but let's go ahead and like see if I can. I'm gonna close this because like, I don't want it to have like the CPU usage or any other things that can hinder a test because I'm getting like really high scores here. That's kind of like one of my goals right now in like 2020 is to hit like some really top 10 like maybe if I'm lucky, but like within the top 100 would be like more plausible runs on 3D benchmark. I think that'd be cool. Build a beast that could do that. Ah, this has been a fun stream. I'm like super juiced that like so many people have joined it. It's almost like an hour and like 11 minutes, but like I feel like this driver kind of deserves it. Like it's just came out, but it's like clean as like an install like you'd want, and it's just as good as a performance. It's just sad that we all had to wait this far to have like competition with like other drivers in order to make this thing. So even the overclock seems like really great for as far as like the stabilization. Like, it's amazing, so good. Even the load time, I don't find any issues. Like look at the sound decibel; didn't even seem like it messed with the fan portions. Yeah, no worries, man. Like that was a great question to point out right when I had that open. So thank you for being part of the live stream and kind of bringing. Oh, and here comes our first crash. I think I got it. Shit. Yep, there we go. But that was actually not a bad crash. So now we found our new top out. So oops, an error. Support. You pushed the damn card too far. I know, but you didn't crash it either. So I'm actually a little impressed. That was really cool. Um, so I'm gonna back it off to like 270. I think we can hit 270, and then we'll start playing with the memory and seeing what we can get the maximum of this. So 270. Let's find ourselves stability. If we can find stability in 270, then we know that's our new top out for like what the rig that I have right now. Um, Closing, and let's go ahead and get it. Nice. Like my old top out used to be 240, 230, but I would roughly run it 225 just because the variance of programs. So it was just like it was always stable, which was still a good overclock. I was still able to hit like 1400 like on my native portion. I guess I need to click it again. 3D Mark was having some issues. Like it crashed. I'm wondering if I might have to reset the computer. Sometimes it does that after you crash a GPU. It can start to just create a lot of errors. I've had that happen. I tend to push technology to the limits, though I'm really excited eventually after this MacGyvered run of me doing this with a DeLonghi air conditioner going from a vent going into the freaking like GPU and it blowing out cold air. That's how I'm getting this like insanely good like Celsius readout right now. But like getting past that, like I really did want to try liquid metal, just because I got a comment from the unboxing that I did on this, and people were really happy with like the performance of it, and like apparently the 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 AO, the whole like air cooling system is like really insanely good for as far as the balance goes inside the it handling that kind of liquid metal conversion, because you want to make sure you have the right plating. You don't want to just like put aluminum; you'll destroy your freaking card. Which I'm thinking that we might have to hit a reset. Yeah, it might. But let me back it off to where it was stable. We obviously know 260 was stable, so let's go back to 260, and if that pops into stability, then we're good. But if not, then 265, and then that's our direct top out. I was hoping to get away with 270. I was asking too much. Probably the core clock's like, nope, you can't do that. But let's go back to our old stability. And if it's not, then I at least know that I need to reset it, and then we'll try again at 270. Okay, so there's 260. 3D mark, if you don't mind, please. All right, let's run our bench test. So it's loading pretty decently, actually. I want to say that this is probably going to show us the same results that we had before. And if that's the case, we might just skip the test. I just need to see it run, and it run decently just for a split second, and know that it's its threshold. You know what I mean? And just dial in the KO Ken that's acceptable for the card. But noticing how it's lagging a little bit right here is showing me concern that I might have to reset the computer, because it might just be a, an error that got caused because I pushed the guard like way too far. But we're gonna find out right here. It's either gonna work or not, and if it works really well, then we'll know. If it works not really well, then well, we'll go from there. But I'm thinking it's going to work well. 265 is probably going to be our final top out, and we'll go to memory testing. Now I can probably, I think I got it before, up to like, I want to say up to 1,000. Like roughly 750 is where I normally kind of put it, just because I feel like it maximizes its threshold. Not too bad. But even just leaving the update by itself, not even touching the physical portion of anything inside of there, I feel like everyone can kind of accomplish something really well. The update itself feels very overclocked by itself. Like you, the new 43602 is probably the best thing that has hit like the GeForce line of gaming ready drivers in a good second in threshold. It's like, because it was just a solid update, and like this is like honestly for me really joyful to kind of like be able to stream such a difference in callous like portion no more. Like yes, I can see where people are coming from that, of course. I would hate to be able to like have to pay a whole bunch of money now. I wasn't have my old card be able to almost meet the new card I had stock. And it's just like, oh crap, that sucks. But it is what it is. I guess today's gaming market is driven by like who can push who farther. But here we are in like the test 2, and it's really performing better than it kind of did the first time around. I always forgot. We can run we need to run the Ultra and the Port Royal. We should do that next, since we found our like new OC. And I know this one's super long. I might make this like maybe a clean hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Just because the simple reason I kind of want to like see if I can OC the memory just a little bit. But I feel like with that I can go in 50 increments to see what our top out threshold, and dial that in between right there and there, because it chilling out right now is really good. And I know that the Nvidia versus like say overclocking a Navi unit is completely different. Like Navi, it's like you gotta like, I feel like it loves it to be hot and cold. It's just that really weird CPU. So that's not too bad. It's chilling literally under 40, which means it's probably 41 degrees, 43 degrees Celsius in that situation inside the case. And for everyone joining that is new to the network or returning, if you wanted to get the patch notes too and read along where we were before, you can definitely just click those in the description. I have that linked with a few other articles that are relevant to the newer update to kind of dial in everyone's latency drop as well as the performance. But this is just our testing and overclocking, the fun stuff of the episodes. I kind of feel like the bread and butter of what a lot of people like to watch. Man, my 2950X is getting pampered. I feel like it's like in like a Sahara desert, but it has a slushy machine. You know, it just can have unlimited slushies somehow. It's pampered. All right, cool. So we went right back to our old score. It went like a little bit right below it, so let's go close. It did really well. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the precision boost. We're gonna try 265. I feel like that's our sweet spot. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore past that. I feel like I'm already asking for too much, but I feel like if we get to 265 and it runs well, then memories. Oh no 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 no! Oh my gosh, it's gonna catch fire. Ugh, bad card. That would have been horrible. I feel like the whole computer would have just like completely crashed. There would have been like a power draw. Yes, my fans are at 100% right over here. Power is already up. The GPU temperature threshold's at 88 where like outlets. But right now it's just like the core temperature. Like they haven't gotten to like the smarter portions of where like the junction temperatures of where AMD's kind of gotten, and I do like that technology where they've kind of gotten to standpoints because you can push the card a little bit farther than having just an edge temperature where it's like 80 and then it's like, oh crap, okay, I'm way too hot, and like it just thresholds and like you throttle and then that's where you lose performance and FPS and all these other fun portions. Okay, here we go. I'm hoping this is it is. Fingers crossed. But I think this is already kind of good out the gates. We're already at the 24 to 26, which means we're rocking 28 Celsius, which is just a hair underneath, like probably performance mean point of a Fahrenheit of like 70 to 80 degrees. Like so, that's pretty good for it being fed like probably like oh I don't know cold air, referencibly about 40 to 60 degrees. It's doing pretty good because it's getting fed like some really cold air right now. That is such a great starter. I think we did it. I'm gonna take a peek at my case just to make sure and turn down the decibel level. But I think we finally hit our new top out, 265, and then we'll play with the memory. Then we're going to Port Royale to test it out and do a few other cool situations. So it looks pretty good. Nothing. Yeah, it's cold. There's ice inside of there, but it's doing its job really well. So I'm not even gonna like mess with that. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I turn on the decibel. Now you can kind of see that it's roughly right around like its outlet on the blower card that I have, which is a beautiful card. I think like for most people, especially if you've been trying to get a performance model and you wanted that Porsche that would perform even better, this would be a time to buy the 2080 Ti. Like if they, especially if they release the Super, I would definitely say that because they're gonna slash the crap out of that and get rid of this model, and all the partner cards will kind of push over to the Super portion. Which I means I had to get one to compare one, which I guess is great. At least I get my tax money back for it being a tax write off. Like, but that's besides the point. Like, it's like I just buy a lot of this stuff out of my own pocket as a creator just to showcase this to other people that are just kind of curious because I figured why not? I mean I'm a nerd. I like pixels and I'm really obsessed with like the performance portions of what we're getting into in gaming. So why not share that with people? So that's why I like social creation because it's like we are all looking for these answers and like I like being that like portion of like what if, and like right now we're in a what if of like where we used to be 30 to 40, now we're getting like 80 to 90 as it goes up, and like this is insane, like which makes me wonder what happens if we get to SLI. Like seriously, if there was two 2080 Ti's right now, it would be just destruction. I feel like all these really great creators probably just like shit themselves because now this update just changed the game. It like literally leveled the playing field. I feel like with like where AMD was kind of there, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do this fight," and then like they were like, "Yeah, Golden Frieza," and they're like, "Shit, we don't have a Saiyan on our team, and there's Golden Frieza. This is not good. We need to get a Saiyan. Saiyans don't give up." Because I feel like Nvidia just got a Saiyan. They went Super Saiyan God Blue mode, and then like it was Vegeta all along, and it had a lot of pride, and it's yelling, "It's Prince of all Saiyans" and stuff. You gotta admit, he's a proud man. That's one of the things I love about Super is like his general standpoint of his character development. This like, so I'm hoping. Oh, give me 1460. Come on, 14600 would be nice. I'll take that. We'll find out very shortly. Oh, I went down. I think it went down. I need to compare that because if it went down, that means the sweet spot is 60. Okay. Yep, it went down. The sweet spot definitely is 60. And what I'm going to do is close that. We're going to close this. Now that I know the sweet spot's 60, go here. Which means it probably just optimally likes to run at that temperature, which is fine. Let's go ahead and go here, and I'm just going to see if I can knock it to 261. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn it up to 11. I always like pushing the limits on that. I already know it's a safe overclock. All I'd be losing is a tiny bit of performance at this portion. And since I want to get a really cool fresh take, we're going to go to 800. We're going to hit enter. I'm going to hit apply. And what I am going to do before we do this, we're going to do a clean reset. I feel like that might be something really cool, like for as far as the portion goes. And I can just kind of go into like general standpoints of other cool things. Now, one of the cool things, if like a lot of people did miss some of the situations that were up in the more, I guess, patch notable points of what you were wondering. These are the release notes that just basically came. I thought this was a really great like manual in a situation that was there. Like so, like in a situation, if you were ever looking for this is patched over, which is their direct driver patch note of what everything they changed, and I think Nvidia kind of kills it when it comes down to like giving patch notes. Like I like covering patch notes, and this is like an Insomniac level situation. Which congratulations to Insomniac. I love to say it. I knew that they were gonna get bought by Sony. I kind of got the trickling point. That's why I was like really excited with the last patch note, and like Sony killed it with like them keeping like the I guess the Spider-Man legacy pure away from the Darth Disney like portion of it. So I'm liking like Sony's take on the Marvel universe, at least in my opinion. These are linked in the patch, like just in case anyone wanted to get into. But we are back and we are live. Giving that portion of where we are, let me go ahead and bring up where we have. Let's see here. This. We'll go ahead and click our 3D mark in, and I can bring up live playback. So, one more test. The only reason I want to run this is just because generally I want to make sure it's stable. I want to make sure it's super stable because I turned up the memory clock and I also pushed it just one more past it. So as long as I can beat my last entry, yes, but the one prior to that, absolutely, I need to beat it. Otherwise, I need to dial it down one and see if it's the overclock on the GPU, its core, or see if the memory. But I think I finally hit the golden zone. This. Also, I don't hear the air conditioner cycling over, which could be an indirect effect. The test. Should go check that. While this runs, give me 1 second. Make sure that it's getting proper air control, because that will make a complete difference. Well, it's cycling over. At least it's still giving it kind of cold there, and I like lifted off the like MacGyver cardboard on top of it, so it should be fine. It should like cycle in a second. Again, it's doing quite fine. Like quite frankly, it's not too bad. I think with this overclock it'll be fine. By the time it clicks back over, which it is climbing fast, don't get me wrong. But at least it's still getting cold air in its inductionable point. So far so good. Maybe that was the difference where the tail end where I got the loss of performance, and maybe 265 is the top out. But just to keep it safe, I'm going to keep it at the 261 just because I feel like with a variety of programs or games or anything else, that could very easily be the tail end of a destructionable point. Now, I'm already getting pretty high on my Celsius. I'm hoping the AC will kick in pretty soon just because I feel like this overclocked MacGyvered version only works when it's getting inductible cold ass air. But so far, so good. I'm not going to argue with this. This is actually quite good performance just for it, just getting kind of like decently chilled air thrown at it, not like air conditioned. Like this is just its cycling moment where it's just like meh. I'll kind of give you semi cold air. But the FPS is such a great improvement. That's probably where I see the most clarity portion, as well as just the way it runs around. I feel like the frame rate tear used to be such a big thing, and now looking at it in general standpoints, it looks so freaking smooth. Like this compared to like where my wow, okay, we're almost getting to 50 now. Yeah, that's dangerously differently. So now I need to let my freaking like AC cycle over in order for this to continue like where I need it to be at. Yowza, because I am not running the ray tracing until like this thing clicks on. Like this is the last test we'll run where it's stable. I feel like the memory on top of there is just great. Maybe I can always like add like a hundred more to like the memory and see if it crashes. But I feel like it'll be fine here. I'm just curious where the test is. It probably is going to pass, but it's not going to be as high as I want it to be because of the cycling portion of it. It's still a great update. Like being able to just play around with this in the overclock in the very end, this is really fun. Damn, look at that thing. The decreasement inside of that situation. So where did I fail in that test? I'm curious. What happened here? So it seemed like the card itself was just not wanting to perform because the AC wasn't getting directly to it. So you can kind of see where it's already gotten up to 41 degrees. It's very hot right now. It's very pissed off at me. It's very tired. So let me see if I can get the air conditioner to cooperate. I'll be right back. Yeah, it's a seat, which means it goes over inside. That's what I get for creating a box that works. I think it's working. It just needs to just chill for a second. Hold on. Why did this doing by itself, what I should do is run a base test with what I have. Since there's a lot of people watching, we might as well do another benchmark while I fix this. Since we got ourselves a decent situation. Oh, the AC just clicked on. Perfect timing. Thanks everyone for staying tuned. This is going to be really fun. So let's step our game up. We've already seen ourselves in Time Spy, right? And with this overclock, and we see what it can do in destructibility. Let's go ahead and click ourselves to some extreme mode. I don't want to run the demo. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and like get a comfortable portion of the AC, and we should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the run. In 1 split second, let's see the temperature drop a little bit. Cold air in there. 30 degrees. Okay, cool. So it is already on its decline down. As we can see, the 30 is going to go to 32 and the dot, 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 and whatnot. So let's go around and run a base. See, straight out the gate, what we're going to get. This DeLonghi test is great. Like, I feel like I shouldn't do it all the time, but for getting some cool, like, benchmark tests for the first time, I was really pleasantly happy with that. No! Shit! The box fell off. Box fell off, but well, now I gotta wait for it to cycle back on. It's doing its punk thing, so I'm really curious how the testing is going on there. That's still not that bad. I mean, the whole testing right around is still like roughly 36, which means we're 41 inside that card, give or take on the core. We're still getting pretty good frame rate. Like for the 4K and the Time Shy Extreme, this is like looking pretty good so far. I'm still gonna be fiddling with the card off stream, like for as far as the production. Oh, that's getting really hot. We're hitting 55. We're definitely seeing some more extreme temperatures on this test, but I'm happy with it. Honestly, it never really struck me as like a really high yielding test in the first place. To get these tests is really great, even with it not like with the AC. Finally, we got to our CPU test. Alright, cool. Still trying. Oh, there it is. Need to find this. Put it in a defrost mode. I feel like that will work really well. Now that we have almost our base done, let's see what happens here. As it defrosts, and then I'll put the lid back on after it hits a full cycle. This is doing really well. And my CPU likes that cold air though. Okay. It ran its benchmark. What do we get? And this is without it running like an AC mode. Not too shabby. Graphical score, CPU score. Roughly where, I mean, like normally I would score where the direct extreme was before, so let's go ahead and look at that. Benchmark where I had, let's see here, details, results, compare. $85, that's not too bad. I mean, that's pretty like off limit portion of it. But I'm looking at my results versus last time. So when I ran my AMD Threadripper with the Times by Extreme last time, my overclock. Let's see, where's my Times by Extreme? I did a lot of Fire Strike. White Royale, that's where I was getting on my kick. I guess it only keeps the top 25. I haven't done one that's really good, so apparently the latest results, there we go. At least that's like kind of cool. Well, we'll test another one in a split second. I'm gonna close this. Let's get our Port Royale test, and then we'll go against them with the other ones with the cold induction after we get our just normal clock outs. Which seems like this is a nice steady overclock just in general. It means I can push the overclock without this. It just runs smoother. A hell of a lot smoother when I run it with like a direct cold induction, which makes sense. Why wouldn't it not run smoother? Alright, so Fire Strike Extreme Ultra, yes. But I kind of want to do that Port Royale first because I want to see how it handles. This is a really fun one. I like to think like this is probably the funner ones that we get into, just because I'm really curious to see if my AMD's gonna like handle it, like not as well like we're in the department where it's on fire, like versus where this Nvidia card is gonna handle it hella well. Like the Celsius, even though it is trickling to a point where it might turn off, it isn't gonna go into the 80s, 90s, 100, 110, which still does kind of scare me a tiny bit. So ray tracing is cool. Like I'm like digging where the technology in today is where like we're taking off. This test generally, like for me, like I love running it just because it looks so good. The reflection is so it pops so well. 33 not too bad, but once we get into the hardcore test, I can guarantee it's going to shoot up to 40 to 50. And then we'll have to run our back-to-back ones with the cold induction, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I can run the AC any longer and cycle it like that, where it will allow itself to, I guess, to continue to run that, where it gets the humidity inside of it, and then it cycles off because it's like freezing, like within its own unit, not the computer itself, where I have it like basically it goes into a box, and that box goes through a whole bunch of tubes, and then the tube shoots out dry air in the end. It's great. Very MacGyvered, but it's collapsible too, so it's really convenient. So this test is so far doing insanely well. Before it would mainly go between like 30 like by itself. And you can kind of see right here it even drop like the low 30 to like the 20s. So this in general standpoint is insanely good. I'm very curious to see like where I'm gonna rank versus my old one. The reflections are the best quality about like ray tracing. Like I feel like that's where you win when it comes down to those situations because it looks the realest where the actual glare hits it, where the light hits it for the perspective. Like at least that's where I'm finding. Now 50, like we're seeing like a huge improvement where the heat element, but again, the card's not that hot. Like normally with like my Radeon 7, I'm like cooking it, like almost like 30 to like 27 degrees hotter on that situation. So fun times. I definitely like this. I feel like they should make a game like where the next Bioshock is going to be centered around this. It's like Port Royale, Bioshock Infinity, +2. But good stuff. This update I recommend to everyone. And for everyone tuning in wanting the patch notes, thank you so much. Cheers. I appreciate you being part of the network. If you're returning community members. But if you want just the news itself, I do have that linked in the description. I wouldn't want to hold you up if you're clever enough. Now, damn, son. That was good. That was clean. I'm really happy with that score. Compare. Almost went over 8,000. View results. Not too shabby. Feel like I might be able to get a little bit better. Tighten it up. Now again, this might be because I'm failing to like run it at the optimal portion of it being cold. So let's look at my last Port Royal entry. No, I cleanly slaughtered it. I like that means the overclock without even inducing cold air slaughtered the out of it. So let's run it back to back. It's had its time. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the AC. I think it's had enough time to defrost. Now, I'm not running the AC itself. Like by itself, it's running really well. As you can see how fast it just dropped there. And I'm just running the dehumidifier on the DeLonghi. That thing runs really well. I kind of want to run it just by itself without even kicking in the AC and seeing what happens. We'll run some Port Royale back to back on this situation. Let's go ahead and do it. I say screw it. There's a lot of people watching. Let's make it fun. Just yesterday, updated. It's running smoothly. Finally got a good update. Yeah, I agreed. Latency's dialed in. Everything about this update is amazing. Like, let's go ahead and compare another bench test. Now that we've gotten some, like, you can see the temperatures are drastically dropping. So let's take advantage of that. And like my overclock on this is pretty high. Like I have like the clock count like at like 261 like over on my X1 precision boost and then like 800 on the memory clock. So it's like it's pushing it to the limits. The voltage is like ramped up as well as like freaking like the fan speeds at the max. I could turn on the decibel, but it's roughly getting about 71 give or take on the decibel take. But thanks everyone for joining. But I'm digging this already. I think even running the humidification versus like the actual physical freezing portion, this is working really well, and it's taking all the dry air into there. Maybe I should just start running that, the dehumidifier through it rather than the air conditioner, and it won't even freeze up. Because look at how well this is gonna run. I'm already getting 35 on the FPS, and it's running insanely smoothly on the ray tracing portion. So that means these tensor cores are working really well on my 2080 Ti right now at the moment. But you can see the drastic difference in temperature. We're roughly rocking about 13 to roughly about 12 Celsius degree drop. Damn, okay. We're almost pushing towards that like 50 or 60 point like I would like to think where the reduction is, but it's not that bad. This is ray tracing, so I kind of expected it to get a little bit up there. And again, I can click it onto full AC mode and see what happens. So this is just me testing the dehumidification mode, and it's not going to hurt it anyways if it just cleans up the box with the dehumidification. When I run the AC, it's just a free, dry run. But I'd say all in all, it probably got a really good boost right there just by itself. We might clear 8,000, which would be really cool. Like I liked the first time I got over 9,000, the trophy it gave me. Like I got, I think it was like over level 9,000 technology. I was like, yes. So, it's gonna be interesting when like CPUs incorporate ray tracing into it. Like I feel like AMD will be the first people. Yes, I got the 8,000. Yes. Oh, that was great. That was really great. Okay, now let's kick in the AC. See what happens. We're gonna run the damn test again. I should drop it drastically at this point. Okay, cool. Got it on the down rise. Let it chill. Let it do its thing. Nice. Okay, well, while it's doing that, let's go ahead and close the program itself. Let it really. Hold on, let me go check the AC real fast. I heard a really weird sound. I do have Gorilla Glue tape. When in doubt, use Gorilla Glue tape. So, give me 1 second. We're almost down to about 29. This is perfect. Almost there, guys and gals. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, there we go. We're almost at 24. All right, let's run it. It's over 8,000. This is great. All right, let's do it again. This is probably the best I'm going to get it right now. We're dropping to 24 Celsius. I feel like the card itself is like running decent. We got our overclock dialed in. I got the AC working just perfect, and I have enough time for probably two death runs on a situation. I think I just hit Time Spy by accident. If that's the case, I'll just run it once and then like crap. I didn't really mean to do that, but at least I can test it against the other one that I had with the memory clock now dialed in and the AC working perfectly. So final test, and then we'll do the Port Royale because the Port Royale seems to heat the card up drastically. It's insane, son. It's real. Graphics test 1. Go. Assemble. 22 degrees Celsius. This is amazing. straight out the gate, we're already getting to like 70 to 80, which isn't horribly good. It isn't horribly bad. There we go. I was like, wait a minute, where's our 100? It seems like it's doing decent, but I think it's like tripping out too. I think it's tripping out because of like me going from hot to cold, hot to cold. And the processor itself heated up, probably itself with the AIO, like probably like wanting to like go back to where it normally is. So this test itself might be like very iffy because everything's really hot in the case for a split second versus where it was very ambiently cold. So, but still, to get the 32 to 33 ambient, like in the portion of the blowback, which means it's probably in the center of the GPU's um, processing points, roughly about 40 Celsius right now, which isn't that bad. That's like probably 90, getting towards 80. It's pretty decent, honestly, all in all together. And it's stabilizing, which is nice. That's what I want it to do. Like right now, it needs to find the ambient temperature between the heat and its production of the output as well as the cold induction, so it finds a nice balance. I feel like this test is doing good, but I'm also like kind of fatiguing the card at the very tail end of it, especially after those Port Royal tests. Like I feel like that really like pushed the card to the limit. Oh, I need to put this mouse down before I cancel the test on accident. So I'm like assuming we're gonna bank in lower than normal. I'll be very surprised if we go above it. But I mean I don't know. Let's see what happens. So far we're not even hitting the 50 mark. We're 10 below what we're normally at. So even running it with versus the dry run with the I guess the dehumidifier running versus the air conditioner, it's a solid 10 below, which is nice. The consistency with that. That's probably where I'd want to run my card anyways. Just below the 50 Celsius. That's not too much of a draw. Now this is where it's going to get fun because then this is where my processor comes into play. And if everything is running well, the AIO should be getting a nice breath of cold air to run decently, really well now. Yep, there we go. It accelerated right out the gate. It likes the cold air. I just like how smooth it is when it runs cold versus like before it would like really kind of lock up. So it's like that's the difference. A nice controlled cold environment versus a hot environment. So that was kind of like I feel like a weak test. Again, I feel like that was its yawning stage where it was kind of acclimating between both things. Let's go ahead and go back to our benchmark of where we had it running hot and we ran it against like the Port Royal. Now that it actually has warmed up and gotten cold, see what happens here. We'll be aiming towards tests about 50 Celsius, and then we'll run our Fire Strike Extreme, and that's pretty much it for the episode. I like to think I've already gotten way longer than what I normally want, but there was a lot of good foot traffic, and this is really great to kind of OC a lot of things and see what we could like rank in. Like this was very cool. Like I was able to kind of get into that 98. I want to get into the 99 mark. I feel like that would be kind of cool. If I can get into that like cracked like ratio. I'm running the 2950X Threadripper. It's I like it a lot. Like I have it like OC'd right now at like 4.2, which is kind of extreme. I know it takes a lot of electrical to like run it, but I've dialed in a nice electrical run for it. And it handles my 4K and encoding really well. Like so, I take the risk, and I'm waiting for like the next gen. I spent a lot of really cool money investing into like the Asus Prime Alpha like upgrade. Like the Alpha is extreme. It's like so much better without being able to handle the TR chips. So, oh no worries, Brian. Like you can always like go to the description. There's the patch notes directly in there, or you can rewatch later on. Like it's always just nice to see a lot of people returning. Seems like this is a nice fan favorite for the MacGyver 7th channel right now. for a lot of techies alike. But this is working out really well. Like, as you can see, like look how cool the run is. Look how smooth it's running right now. So when this update has a chill factor, because I'm running a DeLonghi air conditioner directly to the GPU through the blower cards. It's just blowing in and inducting like cold air directly. So it's like really great. The update definitely by itself, without even overclocking, will give you the FPS and performance and the clarity boost with the fluidity that a lot of people are looking for. So it's definitely worth the install. It's like if you want a better card, then yeah, install this update. It's worth it. I'm just overclocking it now to see if I can push it farther than I ever pushed it before, and I've gotten some impressive scores already. I've already slaughtered myself by a few hundred points on the first few runs, and learning the balance of where I can push the card and how I can push the air conditioner at the same time. But that's not too bad. We have not even peaked past 50. We're holding at 56. No longer. Even fearing that 46, son. 47. The end, it like bounced up a lot higher, so like this is good. Nice. Okay, so I solidly got a better improvement. That was like what I was looking for in the ultimate all in all. So benchmark scores. Let's go to our final portion of what's going to happen tonight, and that is going to be a really fun ultra, because I feel like that is like one of the greater portions. Now I have multiple GPUs not and overclocked PCs. Yes, I could run an extreme test and see what that is if we wanted to kind of join that. If like a little bit more people join in, I might run in that. But for right now, let's go ahead and run this so we can keep the narrative running with scores. Because I want to try to get as many as I can logged, so like next time it'll be comparatively with the cooling aspect. The latency is really great. Like the performance from what I've heard, and I linked a few articles to a few other creators that had did a lot more research onto like where the FPS benchmarks are. They have some graphs where you can kind of look at. So it's like it seems like the response time is just there. They dialed in SLI with a lot more performance, which is really great. And let's see the ultra advice you asked real fast. I have like two overlays going on at the same time. Can you put it on even ultra? Any advice? Yeah, it's pretty much this is for every single GeForce card out there. The Game Ready driver right now, which is 4.36.02, should increase all situations. So this is kind of like I feel like they were holding on to this and they were going to release it in segments to increase. But since AMD made the leap to kind of contest where they are, and Intel's like coming with a lot more people, and now with the introduction of Alienware Chief becoming the game engineer chief at AMD, like Nvidia has to step their game up to meet the market to be the kings of like the road. I kind of feel like because it's like the technology they have is really good, and I do agree that like it is one of those points where it's like we as like gamers want to see great like showcases of like improvements before, but like I want it on day one. I want it like dialed in, and I want like nothing that leaves me like I felt like I was sold a lemon, but then an update comes out and then it's worth a lot more. But I bought a more expensive card to meet the standards, but now it's performing even better. So it's like I can see why people are a lot of salt like is coming and thrown around, but like it's down to the point where it's like I kind of just at least it's here. You know what I mean? At least we're getting these performance points. Um, it could be worse, I guess. Could be worse. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like it just seems like the disruptor of the Radeon 7 and Navi completely forced the hand of where Nvidia now we're all installing this driver that's performing way better. So it's like I can't wait for like Gaming Nexus, like Paul's Hardware, Linus, all these other major creators to touch on this and be like, dude, this is what's going down. Like, this is our portion of like our deduction of like where this update's coming and where the performance, because it's going to be down to that point where it's like it's going to be a night and day difference, and people are going to call out Nvidia for like kind of holding this performance back. It's like Goku's like probably holding back mode right now. Yes, he probably always is. Goku's always holding back. But here's the fun portion. I always like Fire Strike. This is the combined test, so I'm really curious to see what happens here. This is both my AIO and the GPU are being cooled by the air conditioner. And it's still running right now. And it's not bad. That's like I've never seen it run 20. Usually it's like the low 12s to 13s. Damn, this is looking good. Okay, there we go. Usually it crashes within that district of time. I've never finished it. Nice. That's not too bad. Fire Strike Ultra, let's compare it to my old test. I'm really curious to see where I probably went over. There. Not bad. Hydra, 12 cores or more. I want to get to this. This would be great. I just need to get to a just 1,000 more points. Some liquid metal might get me there, maybe. I should put a low latency in the Nvidia and the Ultra 1060 notebook. You probably would get a better performance out of it. 1060s and 1080s I feel will benefit off of this even more, and that's where I'm really curious to install some of my old cards and seeing the performance boost of where they were just with this update, because apparently it's across the board for everyone, which is really interesting. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. When like other creators cover this, not just myself right now, just being like within the first day or two since it's actually there. So the Ultra, that's where it failed. This is where like the overclock is in my Radeon 7. Did I not run it with the 1080 Gi? I could have sworn I was like Fire Strike mode and Fire Strike mode and Fire Strike. Okay, look for my Threadripper. Where is it? Oh, I guess I don't have a... Damn it. I don't have a direct one to go against. Now, I got 9,000 on the Port Royale test there before, and that was the original test. So it's like, maybe I should dial back the OC on that. Maybe that's where I'm seeing the fatiguing point. So let's go to this. I know for a fact that right now 250 will work really well. Maybe running it even colder will work the best. Oh shit. The overclock didn't stick. Okay, that's making a lot of sense. Okay, so 777. I'm gonna go with, since I know 255 is probably a stable overclock. Turn up the voltage. No wonder I was getting such a shitty test. I was like, damn, son, like, I feel like I should be getting a lot more, like, in the situation. At least it kept the applicable point of the freaking, Oh, that is hilarious. Let me make sure that that it's working back there with the fans. There we go. Okay, yeah, I guess we're not ending the stream anytime soon. I need to... Okay, crap. That changes the game. That completely changes the game. We were running stock. Like, I'm telling you, this update destroys things stock. It's like it's Nvidia's version of overclocking. Man, that means the fan blower wasn't even going at all. That's insane. Look how low the Celsius is right now. Oh man, this is too good. This is too good for good. This is amazing. Okay, cool. Everything's applicable. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure it's there. Hit apply. I really want to make sure that that like is going all full blast. So let's run our time spy again, and then we'll do Port Royale, and then we'll do the extreme. Oh man, this is cool and bad at the same time because I kind of feel like I'm glad I figured it out live, and like with a lot of people. So it's just like this is also showcasing again how good this is. But getting 15 Celsius right now is even better. Amazing. I know, right? But that again is because I have a MacGyvered vent of a DeLonghi air conditioner boosting like air that's like very cold to it, and it's the blower edition, so it just takes the cold air, blows it through the veins, and blows it out, so the hot air just doesn't even chill in the case. and then my AIO gets the benefit of getting the down vent fan, which is recirculative, all of it through the cold air. So it's like it's a really winning trifecta with my case already natively being at like around 20 to 30 Celsius, depending on the ambient temperature outside with the case closed. How's the benchmark doing? It's really good. I'd like to know. I'm going to download these drivers. You're going to be extraordinarily happy, Zulu. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. When this catches up to you, um, so it's like you're definitely going to see the performance and latency, the performance and situation for like just FPS is insane. Like it's night and day. It's like I literally can't describe it any better than you're just getting Nvidia's overclocked version of your cards. They're just like, hey, this is what we intended, and you can even overclock it even farther. And that's where I'm testing it right now with overclocking it even farther past that now with like doing it with like a MacGyver portion. Holy crap, 123. Oh my god. That's like, that's insane. I'm really curious where we're going to benchmark test now. Because before I got it right around, I would say 1463, I think, around there. So I'm really curious if we'll beat our score. 26 now, that's perfect, because this is going to be the heavier test. Oh, I almost thought we were going to get 100 coming around this corner. That would have been surreal. These are the test marks I was trying to get at. Like, this is perfect. Everything is running smoothly. Alright, let's see what we get as we climb up. We see a huge increase. I know, right? Nvidia, are you okay? You need to Seosine? Like, I feel like we need to be tossing like some like sensu beans to like Nvidia, but like, it's okay, buddy. You just need to train. I know you gave us your all, and like things are probably gonna be catching fire now, and people are just gonna be overclocking the crap out of everything, showcasing these drivers. But yeah, this is just too cool for school. As you can see, I'm getting literally almost 100 FPS, literally with one card. Not even SLI'd on 3D Mark. It's too cool. So this is where I'm going to benefit now with my 2950X being cooled. Alright, go for it, Threadripper. Get him. Get the pixels. Kill him. Look, it's just like tossing it around like it's no one's business. Like normally it's just like, yeah, I'm not tired. I'm going to try to do these pixels, but I'm not going to do them really well. Okay, where we're at 14. Show me. I know we're 14 at least. We're at least 14. I might mean 14,000. Yes, 14,000. Like I can raise that a little bit more. I feel like I can definitely raise that a lot more. But I really want to hit my other benchmarks. I know I can raise that higher, but that's a nice showcase of where you can push the benchmark. Port Royal, that's the one I want to hit right now. Because right now, since it's optimally running cold, I want to keep it like in this perfect situation of running in ambience. Now it should drop pretty drastically right now. No, you're absolutely right. Like I hate to say it, but that's why I'm hoping other creators cover this and see exactly what I'm seeing. That every single card had this unlocked, and now this really wants me to like. I want to like almost pull out like both of my GeForce cards because I have a 1060 Extreme, which is really good, which is geared for 4K. Like 30 frames is not too bad for the encoding portion, and then do another one for just the real little. Oh my gosh, it's killing it at 40. Holy crap! Normally it was like at 30. It's just killing it. Oh, it's going towards the mid 40. Go for it. Get him, card. Get him. This is too cool for school. And look how low the score is. Like it's at 20 Celsius, so it's accelerating. Um, Does it worth updating the drivers? Yeah, I would say it definitely is because right now, from what I've been reading, it is literally for every single card. So that's why I want to test my 2080 if I would ever to get one. But my 2070 Ti Mini, I definitely want to test because I feel like it would have a lot more benefits. And then like for my 2060 Extreme, it probably have some really great benefits just because it's geared towards a heavier processor versus like the other one has 2 more gigs of RAM, but it's in a tinier portion and it has a hotter um, running temperature. So it's like if I got that with like the setup that I have now, where it's MacGyvered, I might be able to see some really great scores with just that card, in general standpoints. Yeah, exactly. It's like they did a great job, like the latency cut. But it again, this is where a lot of people were like, "Dude, what the hell? You like totally kind of like juked us." Like, I feel like we got juked, like for like the longest time as we invested into their technology, and they just kind of waited to play like the card of we have a trump card on these cards. No pun intended, but pun intended also. We got played. So it's worth downloading. Right now, I'm just running everything through 3D Mark without even testing anything on like the other portions of like, oh my gosh, it's killing it. Oh wow, sorry. I haven't ran any like physical game benchmarks on the latency portion of it, and like I would really be really curious to see if like 3D Mark had like a latency test. I feel like that would be like way cooler. But yeah, it's definitely worth testing. And you can see right here where I'm getting my benchmark tests. If I was to go into, let's see here, details, and then I go to my compared scores, results. The last one that I ran was like 9,000, barely some change. You should. I think that's great for every creator to kind of like test out on their cards and see what the performance boosts are. Because my 2080 Ti, like the RTX is great, but I feel like I kind of wasted money if like my 1060 Extreme almost kicks its ass right now because it's like on par with what I've been doing in the general standpoint with the 2080 Ti at stock and doing overclock. So it's like I'm happy and I'm also pissed at the same time. I'm just like AMT. At least you're honest about it, even though you close your cards all the damn time. All right, so here I am. Oh, cool! I boosted into the other category. Yes, I'm almost into here. I'm almost here. Ah, oh, I'm gonna go for it. All right, everyone, sit tight. We're gonna go for it. I'm gonna close all these. I'm gonna let the card chill. Close. Okay. Go ahead and go here. See the latency. I gotta let it go down like a lot farther. I got it down to 18. Let it chill. All right. So since that crashed last time, let's go for a clean. Right here, and I'm gonna boost this back. Let's go to 2.6 um 5. No. 265. I know that that can run perfectly. It ran last time, but like the cold air induction didn't work. Let's test that. Apply. Let me go look at the setup. Let's let it like chill. And like what I can do real fast? Let's I know all the temperatures. I'm just gonna hit default real fast. Let's just let it chill. And then I'm gonna turn the fan all the way up. Yes. All the way up. Let it just chill, 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 chill. Let's make sure, like, because I want to get the best test I can possibly get it to do. Cool, we're already dropping to 19. Okay, we're almost at 16. I feel like I'm gonna grab a Gatorade. I'll be right back, everyone. Just give me 1 second. I'm getting thirsty. Oh, 14. Damn it. Okay. Holy crap! It's 12.6. This is amazing. Okay. Okay. I feel if it gets to 11. By the way, I changed my mind. I wanted an aloe drink. I feel like that would be really good. So we gotten ourselves down to 21 Celsius. That's great. Let's dial in our overclocks. Let's go to 780. I already know. 265. Enter. Turn up all the voltage. All the overroom. Hit apply. And worst comes to worst, we come back to it. Then raise the memory clock. Because I know 270 I don't think I can do. Unless last time it was on the threshold of turning off the AC so it was only blowing cold air versus what's going down. But I want the Port Royal test. Like it seems like that's like the really crazy one. And only 3 people have gotten in there. I really want to see if I can reach it. Right now I'm testing Port Royal and hoping that I can slaughter the test running cold with my overclock that I've dialed in that's semi-stable. I've seen like seems like 260 to 270 is my sweet spot with running it like where I've dialed it in through precision. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Except for an AMD, they kind of want you to run it a little hot. But like when you're overclocking, it's like especially when you're benchmarking. Like if you want optimal, you want to run it at, like the highest. So it's doing pretty decent. Not too bad. We're almost getting to like 50. But you can see that the temperature is drastically raising. So that itself could be a performance drop point where it's throttling itself because it doesn't know what to do. But let's see what happens. As long as it stays above 41, 45, I'll stick with it and see what we end up getting. If it scores below it, then I'll let it warm up. Maybe we'll do a Fire Strike Ultra and warm its kindred soul up. Damn, I am almost getting 60 FPS on ray tracing. It almost damn near gave me 60 FPS. This is so clean. That is so good. Absolutely love my aloe drink. Okay, so far so good. Seems like we've finally gotten up to 30, 31. So optimally, we are finally starting to hit our peak out point. So 32 should be decent, but it's getting hotter. Before it was right around 40, but that's probably why it's raising so drastically right now. But I'm curious, what would we peak out at? Oh, wait a minute. We may have gone down. I think we did. And I think that's because I pushed the CPU way more fast, I guess, past what I should have. Could also be the memory. 7777 should be like sweet spot sometimes. I need to look at my results. I think we went down by 150. Yeah, oh my gosh, we were down by almost 200. Okay. Right now it's not good. But I am making some really good dents inside the scores, though. We're making some pretty good points. Let's see here. Let's go back to precision. Okay, so I'm gonna dial it back. See if it's that, and dial this to where I know it would be safe. 255 is where I got it really well. 260 is where I know it worked optimal, where I peaked out last time. This is where my optimal sweet spot was, where everything was gonna go good situation. Oh yeah, I'll have to turn that back on in a split second. It's not like my decibel reader versus my temp reader, where I just got like a I guess a hair tie and I wrapped it around the trigger. That's where the blue thing is, right underneath it. It's a hair tie that's just running in, and I just bought like a really cheap battery from like the dollar store. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say let's keep this optimal, because I think maybe one of the reasons why it may have like freaked out is because it rose temperature really fast, so it kind of throttled itself. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm testing a lot of this stuff too, finding stability, but I think this is good enough. It's gonna be dropping. I want it to finally meet itself halfway. I don't want it to hit 14 and go all the way up again. But give me 1 second. I'll check the decibel meter. Let me just get the test started. We're gonna dive into Port Royal yet again. All right, let's run. Defrost movie. That's why. So the test I was able to peak out with was because the AC clicked off. Yes, got it. I know how to switch between them now. So I have to switch between um, the defrost mode and the freaking the physical mode. So both those tests back to back are not going to be as consistent as I want. So that means I literally have to warm up my AC, get it to optimal portion, turn it off, and just run it for the test that I want to induce the air cold. So it keeps it that way. It kind of sucks every time. I'm like, damn it! Right when I'm getting down to the crucial portion of testing, it just wants to do this. But it's fine. I like it. Like this gives me like so much more creativity to keep running these tests. Every time I go above 260, it's like, no, life doesn't want you to burn your RTX card up. Like, thanks, life. Okay, there we go. So I gained my score, and then some. So not too shabby. I think result to result, that was actually. I think I might have broke even with that run. So where I lost, I gained. So let's run it one more time. Since now it's in defrost running mode, I think this is going to be the best induction that I have because it'll clean up. It'll be a dry cold. Like that's why I'm getting better test rate now, and I'm almost tempted if I get this one more time, once I get that dry cold off, and it goes past that, then run it on the regular air conditioner, which it should run fine, and tune up the GPU and the memory, just tighten it up just a little bit. I think I might be able to do it without it freezing up because I haven't seen any fatiguing point with artifacting. It's just been pretty smooth so far, and the loading's been really well. All in all, this has been a really great patch. Okay, straight out the gate, we're at 41 and up, so this is a great starter. Before, when it was dropping below to 39, I was kind of worried, but now we're getting our mid 40s, which I saw in the very first test, 45. We'll see probably a 50 to 51 to 52, hoping 60. Once the actual aircraft starts landing, like with FPS membrance. There we go. Once it touches down, we'll see major FPS improvement. Holy shit, it went to 70. 60, that's the highest I've ever seen it. It literally went to 70. My, oh, it crashed. I think I crashed it. Okay. Okay, okay. That's not bad, but not good. I know, right? We did decent, though. I think I just need to let it chill. Just let it chill for a second. Hit default. Go ahead and ramp it up. Because all the hydration should be getting dried out, so this should be its turning point right now where the air conditioner should be going. So it's just basically it tried as hard as it possibly could with the regular air. Now it just needs to kind of like draw in a whole bunch of like dry air real fast. Once it goes down to like 14, I know I should be able to turn on the air conditioner and retune it. I am gonna try the 260 again, just because I kind of feel like I can do it once the air conditioner is running. Okay, cool. It's normally starting to get its own thing. I'm gonna go test to see like where the I guess what is it, the pressure core. let's see. What happens now that I start reducing the folder? Oh, that fell away. What? No. Shit. Okay. I think this is the best I'm gonna get it right now. Dropping to like the 15 to the 14. I've got one shot at this. Alright. Alright, so I know I want 260 at least. I want the voltage curve. Now, I've heard Jay's 2 cents say that doesn't really matter, but I've had luck with it. I'm going to keep with my lucky 777 and turn up my cores all the way up. Hit my little apply. Go here. Start our benchmark. Hit Port Royal. See if we can't keep getting good FPS. Oh no, 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 no. Don't do that. Oh, I already have it running. That'd be why. Okay, so I'm still getting 11 Celsius. This is good. Very good. I'm curious, it's at 10 Celsius right now, what's going to happen? Just with the stable overclock I've already been able to achieve with cold. It's holding like the 10 Celsius though, it's insane. It's finally just broke it and went to 12 right there. We're probably going to see a drastic swing up right when it comes down to the point where whoever's leaving the ship. $24, not bad. Hoping we might hit 30, but I'm not banking on it. Hopefully this is the best run. See what's up. I feel like that was so-so. I feel like 55 killed it. At the same time, seems like it needs to be warmed up in order to kind of run these tests by itself. Because if you look at my results last time, I've done my best one was the last one where I did it, where it was just on the 55 portion of it. 60 crashed it, so maybe 60 is just too hot. It just very well possibly could be that. Maybe the tightening tuning needs to come from the memory. Let's go 255. That all the way up. That way there. All there. And let me see if I can just make this clean 800. See if it will apply. EQ, what's going down? I definitely think I can push the memory now a lot more smoother. See what's going down. Benchmark. Still got 17 on the Celsius point, so let's go ahead and try it again. See what happens. So it's kind of breaking even temp wise. Seems like the decibel meter went off again. But still at 40. We're staying above 41. I think this is going to be our best test. I think the best I can do is not keep it at 260. 270 is crashable. 265 is unstable. 260 is good, but it's technically unstable for like if you want to see really big improvements. 255 it plays well. Because I can run the Fire Strike and I can tune up that, and yes, it will run optimal. But when you're using the tensor scores with the ray tracing, it instantly will fatigue the shit out of it, and like it doesn't like it at all. 71, 70, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. You just hit your best score. You literally just hit your best score and you didn't crash. Oh, glorious! That was glorious. I literally just hit 71 on my freaking like RTX card. I've never hit that. That's insane. I thought I would have to get like two cards together in order to do that in SLI mode, and like I just was able to achieve that right now. Finish the score and show me like 9,500, 9,600. I will be really happy if you can give me that because your temperatures are perfect right now. Come on, you got this. Be cool, girl. Damn, we finally hit the 30. But not bad. I think this is right where it's optimal. It likes that temperature draw. It doesn't like it too cold. Doesn't like it too hot. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Whew. All right. Best score ever. Wasn't what I wanted, but hell, I'll take that. That was like very good for like everything considered. I compare it right here versus my other ones. Look at that. A solid 100 literally over that. That's my number one like portion in Port Royale. Like that's my top out right there. That's really good. And especially if I like go back and looking at the situation in my details, that puts me in a bracket that's pretty good for like home information. Look at that. I'm literally almost on the verge right here. I'm like cutting out of my class at this point in time. Like I'm only like 100 or two getting out of that portion, going towards the 3 margin. So, yay! Sweet. Um, okay, one more test to end it, and we'll call that a very successful video, ladies and gentlemen, an extraordinarily patch. But for most people that are new, if you we'll go for the Fire Stripe Extreme, like see what it actually tests on situation. So let's go, go, little guy, go. Um, but if you're new to the network and you're having a lot of fun, and you know you're into like techie patches, like obviously I don't usually make my patches 3 hours long, and if you've watched this, thank you so much for investing your time this long and making my CTR value extraordinarily shoot up on YouTube. I appreciate your time invested into it, but consider straight subscribing to the network. It's absolutely free. I never ask for anything for the community, just like kick back, have fun, learn a whole bunch of fun stuff. That's the whole point and process of it. But if you do, I might turn into a Fire Strike program. But all hilarity aside and subscription humor, like I do appreciate everyone's time, and this has been really fun. Like honestly, being able to like see a lot more of the clockable points and unclockable points, and like what I've been able to like boost and not boost, is like my Celsius is going down even farther and farther and farther. This test is like killing it right now. This update is definitely killing it. So if you've like, just got into it and you want to see what the patches are, it's hit the latency, it hits the performance in FPS, it hits everything that they wanted to like basically delivered and they promised. But it does draw the question of why, and why did you take so long to do this? If these cards were already capable of doing this and it was just a driver, so it's like it's unfortunate. It just kind of showed how the true face of Nvidia, rather. All right, coming around the mountain when she comes. Dun, 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 dun. 60 FPS. Holy shizzle. That's some good stuff. 90, almost 100 FPS. Okay, I think I'm starting to see fatiguing points. Um, I think I've pushed my card far enough. I think she's done for tonight. She's been a trooper. I should dial back my my overclock definitely for sure, just to stock right after this. Just let her chill. Nice. My Threadripper's handling that quite well. Very interested to see what the last Fire Strike test will hold, and our score that we'll get at the very end, since this is more geared towards overclocked. Oh, the air conditioner literally just clicked off, and it's like already at 41. Like, okay, damn it. It happens every time. Watch, we should start seeing drastic heat improvements. Damn, that was pretty clean. All right, let's go ahead and compare our score. Wow, I'm almost out of that class and into this class. Here. Sweet. Neato. I literally just need to push it just a hair more, so I might actually be able to break this next time the next patch comes out, testing it. What is this one? I never got this one. That's new. You can handle the Fire Strike Extreme. Red hot. Cool. Detail scores. I really wonder where I'm like ranked at now, like on the that portion. I feel like once I get up here, I might be in like a decent category. That's cool though. Oops, validating score. Alright everyone, well I'm going to go ahead and end it with that, and we can go back to our Fire Strike portion. I'm going to go ahead and, in the background, I'm just going to run like a quick just time spy run. As I say my goodbyes, just so we have something playing in the background as it kind of just speeds along inside of there. But if you're new to the network, thank you so much for staying tuned. If you're a returning community member, cheers. And if you're in the future watching this and definitely staying tuned on all these fun portions of like patch notes, cheers again. I'll see you guys and gals in the near future, and if you are just tuning in and want to install an amazing update, definitely install it. Get a little salty at Nvidia. Yes, they should have given us a lot better treatment a long time ago, but hell, if we get into this portion of, you know, hey, screw you, buddy, we'll never get down to our portion of where hopefully it went into its like froze mode. So I froze it hella tough and I put it in the dehumidification mode. So hopefully it'll actually be able to do anything. But this is just going to be a normal test. I already know it's not going to rank up super high unless the card's just like really tuned really well with its OC just as it standardly will. But it'll be fine. It should drop like maybe a few FPS less than what it normally did. But I think we'll be looking at a really good test as we end this score. And I say goodnight to everyone and look forward to speaking to you all in the near future on the next patch notes that Nvidia drops. And who knows the performance that they're going to bring to the table as they push forward in a lot of these tests. We'll never know what the next situation of what they're going to introduce, which is really interesting because it's like, who knows? The next one might be another 10% that they have in the back quarter that they're pushing this software-driven update, which is really rather interesting. So we'll be seeing major improvements. We'll be seeing major drops, but I think all in all, it's just going to be a continuous slide up as we get better and better FPS, as you can kind of see, as it's tailored here. And like last update versus this update, it's insanely good. Well, that's the best it's gonna get. I mean, still, it's really good for what's going on. It froze over and I had to put it in this defrost mode, so it's just doing what it's gonna do. Oh well, at least I learned how to utilize the air conditioner really well for this like trick to like OC stuff. This should still work really well. I feel like my core will kill it as we come down to the very last portion of this. 47 to 50 now. That's like, it feels like it's running so ridiculously hot versus like what the card normally is. Oh, there we go. Not too bad. That was a really good way to end the score. I feel like that's like the median and what I've been getting, the 1440s and whatnot. But alright, everyone. You have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys and gals in the near future.